Hello everyone. So I thought to have a look at Elon Musk and what we know about him and what we can probably expect or predict for how he's likely to handle Twitter now that he is the owner. So he's the proper owner now. No more need for speculation. I mean, early on it looked like it was just going to go ahead, then he pulled out, and now, well, it's happened now. So he fired four of the senior executives, including the CEO, COO, chief legal counsel and somebody else and a bunch of other people. And he's going to fire 75% of the staff. So we know that's going to happen. Don't need to speculate about that. I don't think he's going to hire them back. He's given them, well, the executives were given like $280 million each and stuff like that. So they're not coming back. They got to pay out to stay away. Golden handshake, as some people call it. So, and I think we can say 75% of employees will be fired. Which 75%? We can speculate about that. And what is the direction of Twitter? There's some things he said, some things he hadn't said. So, first of all, let's look at who he's going to get rid of. Now, he said he's going to get rid of people from the top down. He started with the 4 top CEOs, senior executives. That's top down. I don't know how many of them, if any, will survive. Maybe the only people that will survive the cut will be low-level workers. Maybe he'll get rid of absolutely everybody and then hire more people. That's easier to do. To be honest, when you're not sure about loyalty, and I think the manner of the takeover suggested that there were very few people in Twitter who were wanting to be supportive of him, it may be better to just fire absolutely everybody. Now, I'm not saying he'll definitely do that, but it could be a way forward. And then he can make his own structure, make it anew. Now, whether after firing people he hires some of them back is another question. He might do that, but I would think the sensible thing to do would be to fire everybody. Unless there is an exceptional reason to keep someone, it's easier to fire everyone rather than work out who are the best ones, who are not, particularly when he doesn't trust the top level people to be honest about what people are really like. So it'll just be easy to just fire everybody. They can rehire, go for their jobs again, and some of them maybe will get them. He'll probably want at least a few people who were there before to come back. Which ones they'll be is another question. Anyway, so I'm expecting him to fire 100% of employees, not 75, 100%. He'll fire 100% and then hire some new people. Who they'll be, I don't think we'll know yet. He started with the executives to get rid of, and a few data analysts or data scientists or whatever they were, they're gone. Now, one of his focuses that he said is in how he handled banning. Now, part of this is because he was banned himself for saying something that somebody didn't like. It wasn't illegal, and I don't think it matters what it was that he was banned for. It was something that potentially was against their terms of service, but arguably, if a terms of service is going beyond what is required by the law, it's not really very meaningful. It was a short-term ban. He wasn't banned permanently, but there were threats to ban him permanently, and that in fact triggered him. Maybe not the only reason, but it was part of the reason that triggered him to start the takeover process, because they banned him, he believed, unfairly. Now, I don't know the specifics of why he was banned, but suffice to say that it was, well, it wasn't because he was supporting Donald Trump. It was more that he viewed it as being as unfair as some people viewed Donald Trump's banning. There was a connection. It was for speaking truthfully, but in a way that Twitter had taken exception to. They didn't like particular facts to be told, and that has also been the case in a number of other social media platforms, including Facebook and YouTube. And I can't say what it is because of YouTube censorship policies that are in place right now that take part in this video. So I can't say why he was banned, because I could be banned for saying why he was banned. So it would be hypocritical for him to just say, well, I'm not going to be banned, but everybody else can be banned for doing the exact same thing that I did that I think was unfair. So I think fairly obviously he's going to turn back what the ban processes are. Now he said he's not going to make it unmoderated, He is going to have moderation, but I think you'll find that it will be in line with what the law says, not just what people's opinions are. So, assuming, because it is an American company and primarily the American law applies, even if users are from some other country, it will be in line of American law. And I believe it's at San Francisco where it's located, so if there's a competition between San Francisco law and some other state's law, San Francisco law will apply. Because even though it's a digital place, it will be essentially, that's where the law applies. So if you're living in some other country and your law differentiates between that, tough luck, this law applies. And I think that's fair. I mean, there are slightly different laws in different parts of the world. Some of them are contradictory with each other, but you can't impose your own law to a digital space that is owned in a particular physical location. It just doesn't work like that. So, you know, now, how much further will he go beyond the law? I think he's going to strip back those terms of service and community guidelines to go back to, is it illegal? If it's illegal, you get banned. It gets deleted. If it's not illegal, how close is it to being illegal? If it's really just an unpopular opinion, it gets to stay up. So he's going to just wind that back. Now, whether he eventually goes to having bans for things that he doesn't like, for whatever reason he doesn't like, I think he probably will. But it will be a different thing from what Twitter had previously, from what Twitter didn't like. It'll be what Elon Musk doesn't like. Now, I think to start with, this will be, he'll just allow anything, but eventually he will put in some of his own personal belief systems in place. And I think that's what most people would do if they're running any platform. He's just spent $44 billion on it. He's not going to allow people in that are practicing things that he doesn't agree with. So, which side of politics is he on? Now, I'd always thought he was on the left side of politics, and so is Twitter. So I don't see him as being some far-right lunatic. Maybe he is a little bit closer to the centre than some people think, because he certainly at least appreciates some of the ideas coming from the right. And he might even be a proper centrist. I certainly don't think he's right-winged. It could be that some of his views are, but it doesn't seem as if he is. So I think what we'll see is that we'll be moving away from left-wing politics and more towards a central politics base. And of course, most people would know Donald Trump, who had previously been a Democrat and then was a Republican, is very centrist. He is not a right-wing, he's certainly not far-right. A lot of people falsely accuse him of being far-right, but he's certainly not. And I'd say that the political alignment is probably fairly similar. So banning Donald Trump under the false pretense of him being far-right is a bit unfair, but that's sort of irrelevant. I think that you'll find that Elon Musk I think that he will unban Donald Trump, and I've said this previously, but I don't think he'll just say, oh, I'm just individually unbanning Donald Trump. Because I think if he did that, there would be a lot of people would be angry about that. So I think what he'll do instead is he will say, all right, I'm unbanning all politicians, whether they're left or right side, whichever country they're from. He's going to unban them all because he's going to say, all right, politicians at the very minimum, no matter how much you hate them, should be allowed to speak. And I think he'll do that. I think some people will be critical of him doing that, but he'll do that. And I think that's the right thing to do. And I think the only exception to that will be if some of the politicians are perhaps from some other country and some of their speech is illegal, then, or at least illegal in their country. And so those ones will be the exceptions where they will be banned. But anyone who's not, other than that, will be allowed to be speaking their politicians. So that's one thing. So second thing is, I think he's going to ban all bots. Now, he said that he's going to ban bots. Bot Sentinel was one he earmarked. I've spoken about Bot Sentinel. That's one of the most disruptive, problematic bots that's out there. I think he's going to ban that one. There will be others as well. I don't think he'll catch them all, but I think he'll put in a policy that bots are not allowed, and perhaps give them a little bit of time to clean it up and pack up, and then they'll just be removed. And there will still be some that will sneak through, but he'll just make it a policy. If it's a bot, it's banned. And if in doubt, we'll be banning the bots. Of course, you'll probably get a few false positives, so then you say, oh, well, that's not really a bot, that's a real person. Prove it, you're not banned. And I think that will be one thing that he will do that Twitter wasn't doing. He'll ban bots. Second thing I think that he will do is that he's going to put in place a more algorithmic approach to banning rather than it being personal opinion. I actually disagree with this, but he's going to introduce more bot banning, essentially. So in other words, the only bots that'll be around will be the Twitter bots, which are there on behalf of Twitter aiming to ban people. I don't know that I agree with that, but I mean, it's probably cheaper to do that. I suppose at the very least it's run by Twitter, so there is a degree of fairness there. And hopefully the Twitter algorithms are set up to be fair and that they only catch illegal activity. Now, what else do we expect? I think that he will be, he's already suggested that he will review all bans. So I think what that means is that anyone that was banned for anything other than illegal activity will probably see their bans reversed and they'll be allowed to come back on. Now this will include, I think it'll start with politicians, then it'll move generally to public figures. So I think Donald Trump will be unbanned in the first round. Second round will be more public figures such as journalists and the like, especially the ones in relation to the Hunter Biden situation in 2020 election. And then we'll be looking at regular people. So people even without that blue tick, I think that'll be the third round. And he'll be looking at them, and now some of them will stay banned. He's not going to unban everybody, because there are some people that should be banned. Some people that broke the law. And I think he will be slow with doing this and careful with doing this, and he'll have to do this in the right way. And I think he will have to ban people. He said he will have to. But it might just be different people. There'll be some people who will be banned from anywhere because they're breaking the law. And some people who are engaging in, bullying, stalking, that sort of thing, that Twitter would have banned and he'll ban, and they're just going to get banned. And that's not necessarily illegal behaviour, but just stuff that you just can't tolerate. Now, will they be permanent bans? That's another issue. But I think his aim will be to make Twitter seem to be not only an uncensored place, but also a safe place. Because I think Twitter does have this reputation of being a place for toxic trolls and bullying. And then more recently, the censorship bit. But the censorship bit arguably wasn't the worst part of it. So how successful will he be? Here's the world's richest man, and he's quickly grown. He was nowhere near that 5 or 10 years ago. He must have some degree of common sense for how to handle business dealings. I think the chances are this will be a success, but we'll have to wait and see. That's it from me. Bye-bye.